Move your chairs in. Come inside the hall. Unless you don't like these people. Maybe for a shower. No, move forward. Yes, yes. I've been camping, so you're a good company. I can use the microphone anyway, because I don't know about you, but I'm going deaf. My hearing is less than 100%. So, welcome you all here this evening. I don't know if the program has been posted or just very briefly we'll do some chanting together. So if you're not familiar with basically we pay homage to Buddha these books here. If you're not familiar with that chanting, you're most welcome to use a book to join in together. The idea of these gatherings is I've been having a few of these Zoom things and it's impossible to chant together because of the bandit flag. So it is a very nice thing, the appropriate thing to chant together. So if you're not familiar with that, get one of the books, we'll do that and then have a short meditation. And then Prashanta or somebody will request the refuges and precepts, there'll be a short article, and then a couple of other reflections of Kalupahana. So aiming to finish around about 8 o'clock. Okay, so you can face the shrine and pay homage. Do that chanting together.
สวากขาโต
หันมายังธัมมาปิกิติงคารมาเสสวากาสาจาภิกขุนายโยกาวเสนาเสโยโยมากาปากาปาริยาติวิโมกขเปโตธัมโมกุโลกปัฏฐานาคาดาดาริกาลิวันดามหังธรรมหังวรตังมะเมตังธัมโมโยสัพพะนินังสารนังเขมะโมธัมมังดุติยานุสติทานังวันดามิตังเสเรนะหังธัมมังสัจวาเจ
Jayantang Yarantale Samvalikum Vakame
อันมายังสังฆานุสตินายังคารมาเสสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยายาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ
Jayanta Kalatare Samvadikum Vasamhe.
Just spend some 15 minutes meditation, just my particular version, the idea of training the mind. So people often think of meditation in terms of samadhi, concentration, and translation. I generally prefer for that word is stability rather than concentration. Let's not dismiss that. Until we have a mind, it's like physical training. You know, if you're weak, you can't pick up how weak you are and how heavy the object is. It's the same with your mind. The amount of karma that we've generated, our actions over so many years and so many lifetimes, training the mind to develop a certain strength and stability so that we can hold the mind steady. And that's where the work begins, actually. It's where we are able to investigate, to observe, to witness to. So the practice of samadhi brings samatha as a result, stability, tranquility, calm. And then the use of samadhi, a much more open, reflective, investigative quality of the mind. We develop understanding, don't we? And it takes practice. I can remember I took up red light glass work, we make all the fancy church windows and things. I had ideas to do that. And for the first, I don't know how many hours, far too many, all my teacher had me do was just cut glass. He said, just bring a bucket full of glass from the laziest rubbish bin. And I'll teach you how to cut glass. Cut glass in straight lines. Glass in circles, arcs, triangles. So I just want to make windows. I want to make light shades. Just cut glass. This is samadhi, developing the basic skill. Because that's what glass work is about. It's about pieces of glass that have been cut. There's a lot more to it than that, of course. So meditation is a kind of a repetition, exercise, training. So usually we use the breath as something that we pick up. And it's interesting, it's the reverse of physical. The lighter the object, or the more subtle the object, the more difficult it is to hold, the more strength we need, the more strength of mind. Physically, it's the other way around. The heavier the object, the more physical strength. So the subtlety of the breath, you can use counting, use phrases, peace on the breath, relax and out breath, to add dimension to the breath. The idea is just picking a single point. You can just look at the floor if you like, look at the shrine. But you're not, all of the other stuff that's happening today, last week, last year, COVID, all of that. We put all that down, we pick up a meditation object. And that requires a certain strength of mind, which requires practice, this sense of power, cultivation. So let's try that for a few minutes, just sitting quietly.
भन्ते तिसरणेन सह पञ्चशीलानि याचमा द्वितीयम्पि मयं भन्ते तिसरणेन सह पञ्चशीलानि याचमा तृतीयम्पि मयं भन्ते तिसरणेन सह पञ्चशीलानि याचमा.
So I'll do the Namo Tassa first and then you follow when I've finished. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tisaranakamang nititang. Anatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Anatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kame sume chachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kame sume chachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Mohusavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Suhura meraya majapamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Saramaya majapamadatana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani silena sukatiyanti silena bhoga sampada silena nibbutiyanti tasma silana visotaye.
Brahmachalokadhipati sampati Katanjali yandhivaram ayachaka Santiga satta parajakka jatika Desetu dhammam anukampimam pajan.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham Dhammam Sangham Sami. So, very nice to have you all here. The whole change of legislation is passed system, COVID will disappear. So the government agrees. If only it was that easy. It's a bit like Dharma. We know how it works. We've got the vaccine. We've got the antidote. It was teaching 400 truths, basically. That'll do it. Maybe 2 or 3 shots. But one way that I like to think of the whole dispensation of the Buddha, monastic life, monasteries, is just goodness. I mean, we think it's a goal, nibbana, which is neither good nor bad. It's beyond, it's non-relative, it's transcendent. But until that has been realised, we walk the path, and the path is paved with goodness. Because it comes in so many incredible different forms. In meditation, you can say it's good. Training the mind, meditation, power, it's good. It's a good thing to do. Keeping precepts, the refuge, refuges in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, what that represents traditionally, what that represents personally, internally. Moral precepts, harmlessness, respect for property, social responsibility, honesty and sobriety in a positive sense. So, these are good things. It's good not to harm people, it's good not to harm yourself. Generosity is a good thing. Ajahn Sudhiro and I have just returned from we were about 10 days on the road, just hitchhiking north. We went up to Carroll, camping out, side of the road, in the forest, in the park, whatever. Mostly the weather was agreeable. And I was very uplifted, very inspired by the general reception that we got. People driving past and tooting and waving, and people passing us in the street and saying good morning, and stopping us and saying, asking us questions. A recognition of goodness. I mean, they don't know me, but they recognise this archetype. This is the 4th Devadutta, the Samana, the truth seeker, the sadhu. People recognise that as good. And they feed us. It's wonderful. We really, it's actually very inspiring and uplifting to see how readily, without trying to explain, that was my experience. We live a good life and we receive goodness. So, this evening, we gather here in relation to goodness, but as regards specific manifestation, i.e. Dr. Kalupahana, we can say, well, he's a good man. Perfect man? Wow. Maybe. Who among us is truly perfect? But to bring focus on an occasion like this, Dr. Kalupahana, my personal perspective is as a monk. As a novice, I started here in the early 90s, and here in 1990, ordained as a vicar in 92 and so forth. Prior to that and during that time, and for so many years afterwards, Dr. Kalupahana has offered his expertise, his time, free of charge, to look after the Sangha. It's a truly wonderful thing. And very much appreciated. I'm very lucky because I'm quite healthy. I didn't get to see him in that respect, but also coming to the monastery, taking part in monastic life, and supporting this place quite specifically. A good thing. So each one of you will have your range of memories, but to bring attention to goodness, which is not to dismiss the other. It's not say badness, because don't we all have that? Unless we are truly perfect, right, in our eyes, there are infections, the kilesa defilements, samyojana, the asa taints, there are aspects of our conditioning have yet to be purified. And we can obsess about those, often people do, disproportionately, to bring a focus to goodness. That's what this place is about, and that's what this occasion is about, as I say, specifically directed towards Dr. Kalu. But generally, as a living aspect of humanity, of life, birds and trees and cats and dogs are perhaps not so conscious of it. As human beings, we are very sensitive, very vulnerable, in how we respond to those qualities. You know, as I say, we're just walking down the road, people driving past, toot, waving out to us with a big smile. I feel very good. I only met one some kind of fundamentalist Christian character who was very critical, accusatory, and quite damning, but that didn't feel good. And I know which one I would rather direct my life towards, the kind of world that I would rather live in. It's the kind of happy toot wave world. As I say, it's not to ignore or whitewash the situation. There is a lot of inappropriate, unskillful, immoral behaviour in the world, and to some degree in our own lives. It's important that we do recognise that. Uplifting goodness is a very beautiful thing, gracious thing, it's a noble thing, to be able to look towards that in others. When you see somebody, do you remember the money that you lent them and they didn't pay back? Or do you remember the kindness that they did to you, however small? You know, we always have that choice. It's not to somebody will slip it into the conversation, oh, you remember that money? But to find or to orient our attention, our interest, our relationships, our connections through goodness, certainly as a starting point, really does, like coming here this evening, we start by paying homage to Buddha Sunday, rather than sort of by settling the mind, doing some meditation, settling the mind in a way that is good. A calm mind is a good mind. An angry mind, or a fearful mind, is clouded, it's confused, the tendency that it's going to not function through goodness is much higher. It's the use of ceremony, ritual, these kinds of things. Mrs. Yoga, with the chanting, I appreciate that that's culturally, it's not so familiar. There is something very beautiful, something very good. That sense of communion, holy communion, when we come together. So it is very nice that we can actually physically meet like this. We're doing a few of these Zoom things and just looking at these little squares on the screen. It's not quite the same. It just isn't. It's nice that the technology allows us to maintain some connection. As human beings, the energetic, the life, energy, presence, so important. So we could be pleased that this has been, this event has been organised. So joy will be, I think you go from there to another venue, but maybe lots of opportunity to speak. I think there are Dr. Kalupahana saying a few words, and there's a few other people as well. So just express my personal appreciation for Carly. Everything's still working. Oh, you remember that thing you did wrong? So the ear on the wrong side. But also on behalf of the Sangha, there's been so many changes over the years, but I'm sure there are many who have a sense of gratitude and appreciation for your demonstrations. So I'll leave that there. Express my appreciation for all of us. Just making a monastery as a reference point. Not a focal point, it can be, but certainly as a regular reference point in one's life, it's a good thing. And that's been done in conjunction with this event for Dr. Kalupahana. So I'll leave that there.
Antamayam Dhammatakataya Satu Kalam Tatamase Sadhu 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 Anumodhami.
Ajahn Kusla and Bhantes from the temple, and dear friends, I don't know where to start. Maybe I'll start about 100 years ago. I wasn't born then, but I thought I would start there. I was born at a place called Waterville. Not a few know where it is. It's in the hill country. It's a beautiful place. It's called Waterville because it's surrounded by two ranges of hills. And people think Norway is a wonderful place, but someone who has been to whatever will think otherwise. Anyway, the story starts. There was a Christian man at that time, 400 years ago. He must have been about 40 or 50 years old. And he was just roaming around. That's the usual thing a lot of people do, roaming around the hillside of that town. He came across a boat tree, a little boat tree growing on the side of the hill. He was very interested in it, and then he dug it out, brought it down and planted it, but there was a little hill by the roadside. And this kept on growing and growing. So that was it. And directly opposite the hillside was the public hospital where I was born. We never had a temple in Waterville at that time. So I can't even remember that far. My father, who was from Wellington, it's the southwest part of Sri Lanka. That's where his ancestral place was. But he settled down in Watervilla and got married to my mother. During this time, he realized that there's no temple, and then he thought about it and he approached one of the junior bhikkhus of Durandu, the place called Kumara Vihara. Maybe you may not know the place of Kumara. It's a temple situated on a huge rock. Anyway, this Bhante was always in conflict with the senior monk over there. So the father went to see him and said, Bhante, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be in this situation? Why do you come to Watervilla? We don't have a temple, but we'll make something, get you a dwelling there, and you can sit and do whatever you want. It will be all yours. So he agreed. So, and my father, she went back to Watervilla, and then with the help of the community and the business people, they came up with a little building with timber and whatever you could use at the time, takaran and everything. And that's how the Watervilla temple started. Now, that kept on going and improving, and then there was a good sala there, this nice with the statue there, Cheti is there. And that bow tree is the one that my grandfather, he was like my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, who brought that bow tree and planted it over there. So that was the connection, my connection. And few years ago, about 5-6 years ago, maybe a little earlier, my nephew, my brother's son, he was very enthusiastic starting a Sunday school in the temple. He had the children, he had the students, the pupils, he had the teachers, but he did not have anything else. There were no whiteboards, no chairs, no desks. So he approached me and said, Papa, can you help us? So I said, no, that's not a problem. So I provided them, and they kept on going. Soon after that, few years later, I was there for a Katana ceremony. And the DMO, the medical officer of the hospital, also attended. And the two of us were just outside talking because we could see the hospital there. And I told him, do you know that I was born in this hospital? So he looked at me and said, oh, so you must be the only person who was born in this hospital who became a doctor. Then I started thinking, yeah, maybe he was right. So it's a rural hospital, so we could expect that. Anyway, now what's the connection with Watervilla and this temple? There was nothing except Kalupahanas were involved in that temple at the beginning, and Kalupahanas were involved in this temple as well when it started. So we'll go back onto this. I came to New Zealand in 1973, it was about 47, 48 years ago. And when we came, we did not have a temple. But our Buddhist activities carried on with families, different families. They hosted get-togethers, sermons, and sometimes various sessions. And occasionally they had even 8 of of servants too. And people like Dr. D'Souza, Daniel Gujwala, Dr. Jayasinghe, Dr. Fernando. There are so many other people, they every day, every time, they shared the burden and kept on doing it. Occasionally we used to get a big group coming from Sri Lanka, and then we have a little bit of a boost in our activities. But that's very rare, maybe once in 6 months or something like that. So, early 1980s, there was a monsoon cafe in Wellington, and the one who owned it was, we called her auntie. She was Mrs. Wellington. And she was the first prime mover in having this temple built. He sprang everyone and said, there's a land, 25 acres, we can buy it, and this will be the best place for a temple. So she, her sons, Michael, Dennis, Wellington, they all got together, and then our community got together. Dr. Dias is another person that I cannot forget at this point. And we started from scratch, started building it. And there's so many working bees and umpteen number of the get-togethers and getting this temple built. We started, the first part was a small sala built right at the top. As you go up to the stupa, turn to the left and go up. That's where the first building was built. I can remember when I came for helping other people at different times. There were 2 electrical engineers doing the electrical work. So I joined them and then helped them doing bits and pieces. And it was a bitter, cold, rainy, wet day. And we had a very little small shed. And that's where we had a couple of sandwiches and a cup of tea, and then go back into the place and then right around mud. Sitting on the mud and then going into the building and doing all the work. So gradually things started to move, and there were a lot of people coming in now at the same time, and this sala was built. And soon after, around the same time, there were a huge flood of refugees refugee families from Southeast Asia. And when we had a cutting ceremony, this place was totally full. There were burstings at the edges, the seams. And at that time it was Ajahn Veeradhamma who was guiding us for everything. One day he said, it was so busy over here, he said, I think we should have a medical person in attendance over here. So there was only one person that was here at the time, and I brought my bag of tricks and just settled myself down there where the library was, and then helped them out. And then also the few cookies came out at different places, and Ajahn Veeradhamma also had a workshop so that they could do everything here on site. I can remember another bhikkhu came from UK, and he was an his job was before he was carpenter, So he did a lot of work around the place, especially building the kutis. And also if you see some of the handrails that was constructed or built, he did not use any timber from the shops or the timber yard. He got all the natural wood and turned them into these handrails and everything else that was needed. And sorry, excuse me. I'm very forgetful, so I keep on referring to my notes again. Right. The present kitchen that's down there wasn't there, and instead there was a garage used by the people who were living down that side. I can't remember. They're about further down, and they did not sell the place to the temple for a long time. And then when they sold it, not to the temple, WTBA, Wellington Buddhist Association, and then it became the kitchen. But it was only a little shed. So we managed that all this time till this, our present day kitchen and the little sala on top was built. We did not have a stupa, but Rudra Disvaisa started the fundraise to build one of the stupas. However, that did not work out because he wanted a certain style, he wanted it like the stupas in Sri Lanka. So his project did not sort of really take off, but someone else took over, I can't remember who, and then got the people to come from, I think it is from either Myanmar or Thailand. They came and built the stupa. But both the Rudra started collecting the money. He started this selling little plaques of the brass plaques, so that people buy that, put their names, their people who have left them, their parents or someone in memory of those people, little plaques. And they are the plaques, set of plaques, if you go up next to the stupa, there are a whole lot of them. Those are the ones that collected money. Dr. Dias, he was a very significant person who really helped this temple, not only in other ways, like in the effort and things like that, but also medically. He and myself, two of us together, helped Sangha, they needed help, and also the people who was, we helped them too. Unfortunately, Dr. Dias died a number of years ago, and since then it was just by myself. Retirement came for me. I wanted to do it, but I thought, oh yes, at this point after practicing for about 50 years, what else should I do? And it was with a bit of a heavy heart that I made that decision. And some people asked me, why are you treating all SriLankan payments free? I said, I got my education free in Sri Lanka, right up to the time that I became a doctor. So why shouldn't I give something back to Sri Lanka in this form? And it was an inspiration. I had an inspiration. It wasn't a problem for me. And then treating the Sangha over here here, that's another big inspiration. I think that's all I have to say.
With your permission, anyone else would like to give a very brief?
Yes, you mentioned there were a couple of people, so.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Stop.
Ben, thank you very much for organizing this occasion because Dr. Kalupahana has done an enormous job. This has not just for the monastery, for the community, especially for the newcomers who are struggling with financial needs. He had free consultations for them, which is a great thing, especially at various levels. He mentioned a few things that he did, but I think he have missed out quite a lot. I'm not going to go in detail, but at least some of the things. A little thing which is important for me. He distributed bottles earmarked for collecting dollars and cents for the monastery. And he distributed to, I think, maybe about 1,500 the community. And but I don't know how successful that was. I know you really agree that you didn't get those bottles back. And the other thing I noticed, little thing, in the Dana roster for regular Dana, all you find are ladies, and there may be a handful of men, and one of them is Kalu. We need to look at the context in which we were at that time for his contribution, because there was only a handful of Sri Lankans. We had just landed. The lure of the greener pastures is gone after a while, because when you find you are missing out in your culture, your friends, your family, your religion, so it was really hard time. For one example of this was, I can remember late Maurice Pereira, who tried to put together a register of Sri Lankans in the country. He was telling a story. Once when they were going on holiday in the South Island, they were passing a house and saw a sarong on the clothes line. Sarong is the bottom part of the pajamas men wear in Sri Lanka. So, you know what he did? He turned back immediately and came and knocked on the door. And unfortunately, that was not a Sri Lankan, it was an Indonesian. But that didn't stop them from stopping for a cup of tea, and it didn't stop them from having dinner that day, and it didn't stop them from staying the night there as well. And that shows there are other people who are in the same position, homesick, you need more help. The point is, why the community was at the stage like that, he was Kalu, spreading his wings in so many different directions. And that is what I appreciate. That is not a thing that a normal person would do, rather than focusing on your immediate needs, family, and other things. So you are able to do a lot more, and you have carved out a place for you in the heaven, I think, pretty well. Thank you.
there is one more person, Mr. Chandra Patel.
Thank you again. I just want to, normally when there are more speeches before me, normally I run out of material, but I'm sure I can say something about Kalu, my personal reflections on his contribution to our community here, to this level. I've known Kalu for maybe 35 years now. And my personal reflections and about his contribution is that lots of people have, sought medical advice from him. But in my case, and there are many others as well, but they have sought so many other, help or advice about renovations and, what to do with their furniture, what to do with their broken bathrooms or, drainage pipes. And Kalu has helped the community in so many ways. Outside his medical advice, he has always jumped out and, come out to rescue many occasions. I can remember once in in Karori, Vijay's place, there's a leak bathroom and Kalu had to spend maybe a couple of weeks trying to fix it. And so his contribution is not only confined to medical field, but he has contributed in many occasions in many things, especially for young people, when we first started here, to giving us advice on what to do, what not to do. And even when it comes to gardening, we all sought help from Kalu. Whether we should plant something, whether it's going to be the right choice or not. So every time it was Kalu who gave us that, wise counsel. And thank you, Kalu. And not only that, there's just one more, and he was the master furniture builder as well. When my little girl was, first when we were decorating her bedroom, Kalu donated all Manoja's furniture, and we had what we call handmade furniture by Kalu. So, the list goes on. I can tell so many things, but Kalu, this is just personally, I would like to thank you for your contribution, and not only to most of the people who are here. You did it selflessly, and we are very grateful for that. Thank you.
With Ajah's permission, on behalf of Kalu, we have kept a donation box there. If anyone is interested in making donations on behalf of Kalu to the monastery for the welfare of the Sangha and maintenance of this beautiful serene place, you are welcome to make a small donation. We can offer it to the monastery.
Well, my big donations,
Very nice to hear a few stories. I'm sure there's lots more. Maybe I don't know what your next venue. I think you're meeting somewhere else, more informal perhaps. Maybe we could finish. I think many of you will know, because the chanting before, as I say, was maybe so easy cultural transition. But I think most of you know the Karani Nectar Sutta. So we could do that too. And then we'll pay respects at the shrine. Let's chant that, and maybe we'll dedicate merits. สเมจะสาโกอุจุจัสสุอุจุจัสสุวัจโจชาสัมมุตุอนัตติมานิสันตุสาโกจัสสุปาโรจะอาปะนิโจจัสสะละหุกะโหติสันนิตริโยจะนิปะโกจะอาปะกะโมกุลิสุวรรณนุกิโลนัตตะกุตังสัมมาจาริกินจิเยนะเวญโยปะเรอุปวะเทโยสุขิโนวะเยมิโนหอมตุสาเปสัตตาภาวันตุสุขิจาตาเยเกจิปันนาพุทธาสิตาสาวันตาวะตาวะอนุวัสเสสาริกาลวะเยมันตาวะมาชิมาราสกาอนุกาโตลาติตาวะเยจาติตาเยจาดุเรวะสันติอวิดุเรบุดาวะสัมภเวสีวะสาเปสัตตาภาวันตุสุขิตาตานาปโนปารันนิโกเวรนาติมันเยตกาตชินังกินชิปายาโรสนาปะเดกัสสัญญานัญญมัญญาสโดกามิชัญญมาดายตานิยังโพธังอายุสาเอกพุทธมนุราเกเอวัมปิสัพพะโพเทสุมาณสัมภาวะเออปาริมาณังเมตังจะสาปะโลกัสสมิงมาณสัมภาวะเออปาริมาณังอุดังอโลจติริยังจะสัมมาดังอเวรังอัสสะปาดังนิกังจรังนิสิโนวะสายาโนวายาวตัสสะวิกัตเมโตเอตังสติงอธิไทยพระมเมตังวิหารังอิตมาหุติติงจารุปกรรมสีลวะทัสสะเนนะสัมปันโนกาเมสุวินัยเกนะนาหิจาตุกาปัสเสยะโอนาเรติเตShrine, closing homage, Dhammang namassami Supatpanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Sanghang namami concludes our training program for this evening. You're welcome to linger longer. We're going on to another place, is that right? Yes. Yeah. So let's do it again next year.
Give a safety briefing. The location of emergency exits are there with that running man sign. So in case of an emergency, please go to that place. And the muster station is just in front of the building in the car park. And location of toilets. I think the ladies' toilet is there and gent toilets are there. Location of firefighting equipment. If you see any fire or smoke, please. That is the manual point. Just press it. Proceed through the emergency exits and assemble in the front. The building, according to the council regulations, there should be a building warden. So, anyone volunteer? I think Ranjit will be the building warden in case of an emergency. This for his bag and so that's all. And we got a answer maybe. Kalupahana kiyanna bari monawa hari ewa tibuna na. Answer kiyanna hone nathi. Answer kiyanna hone nathi monawa hari ewa tibuna na. Aite karana kiyanna. Ehamat kiyanna bari ewa. Awa kala ni diwa.